Captain's Log, Stardate 100972.25. I still cannot believe those fools higher up in the chain of command ordered me to explore and establish a colony in the nearby Andromeda Galaxy. It seems bizarre to send a one-person mission to establish a colony. Perhaps the plan is to send additional divisions with bigger colonies when I get there. Who knows? End transmission. Hey guys, welcome to the new Galaxy Gamers channel. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope you're all having a great and wonderful day. And welcome to a new series in Space Engineers. I came up with the idea after watching somebody else's videos, so I hope that they don't mind me taking their idea and putting my own little twist on it. So this series is going to be a progressive survival series, which is intended to allow me to help people who maybe are new to the game, or maybe you're someone that's played the game like I have for many years, but you still like to have a refresher course and you're not really sure about some of the things that are going on. Or maybe you just forgot something like I do just about all the time. In any case, this series will be for you. It will demonstrate how you do different things. And we'll have some fun with it, and we'll see where it goes. We'll just allow ourselves to be creative with how we do things. There are some rules for this series. The first one will be that I'm not going to be able to use jetpacks while on the planets, moons, or asteroids. So that kind of means I gotta do a lot of walking and running. I can, however, use jetpacks in space itself, and there's obvious reasons why I'm doing that, why that's going to be a rule for the series that will not change. It's to force me to be a little bit more creative with my builds, and I think that's a good idea. The next rule will be I cannot dig for ores on planets, moons, or asteroids. But I can actually dig for ice. That's the only resource that I can dig for, because we're gonna need a lot of ice to survive, and we're gonna need it for other various things. So I can dig for ice, but that's the only resource. So that basically means that because I can't dig for ores like iron and silicon and nickel and cobalt and whatnot, we're going to have to do a lot of scrapping of parts from wrecks that we find along the way and things like that. And I think that'll be fun to do. So we're going to have objectives for each video, and with that video, I will place the objectives for that video in that video's description, along with a Captain's Log style overview of what's going to be in that video. The long-term goals are to build a colony station on each of the planets and moons, and maybe something in each asteroid cluster that we find in space. I haven't decided yet on the asteroids. And we have to build space stations in the vast regions of space in the solar system. Obviously, to make sure that we can establish proper trade routes in the galaxy. There will be mods used in this game. Most of the mods are going to be more for quality of life type of things, like a HUD compass, some changes in the coloration of the bars, such as health and power and hydrogen and oxygen, things like that. But I will post a link to the collections of the mods in the Steam Workshop. And once I get the new Galaxy Gamers channel website up and going, which I'm hoping to get done this weekend, I will post a complete list of the mods there with their URLs to their specific mods that you can go and get on this via the Steam Workshop. For those of you that are playing Space Engineers on Xbox and PlayStation, I don't know if these mods will work on those two platforms, so I apologize in advance if they don't. I will look into whether or not they do, and if I can help you there, I will. I do not play Space Engineers on Xbox or PlayStation 5, so I really can't tell you there. I probably won't be that much help as far as figuring out how to make mods work on those two platforms. But my understanding is there are some mods that actually will not work on those platforms. So I will look into that a little bit more for you guys. That being said, let's quickly go through the settings that I have for the game, for this series. As you can see, it's offline mode for now. Day one, doesn't seem like we need to have people in here yet. It's in survival mode, obviously. And we've got autosaves on, and it's set to 4. Oh, no, that's max players. I'm sorry. So we do have autosaves on, and usually the autosaves happen, I think it's in intervals of like 10, maybe 15 minutes. Let's do the advanced settings first. So as you can see, I've got the character inventory size, block inventory size set to 10 times 10. That's to help, obviously with recording videos and live streams. Yeah, I don't think you guys are going to want to see me sit there and see me have it all unrealistic. Although that might actually be more fun. The assembler efficiency, I've got it times 10 as well. Same with the refinery speed. Welding speeds at times 5, that's the max there. Grinding speed, same thing, at times 5. Environment hostility, that basically means your meteor showers. You can set that to however you want, and we might later on. But I'm going to leave it at safe for now. You can tell me if you think I should have that on. The sound mode, I always use realistic. I just like it better than the arcade. I think the arcade sound mode just it doesn't cut it for me. Limit world size, I always leave that at unlimited. You can limit it if you want, depending on your computer and the machine you're playing on and whatnot, but you can limit that. View distance, I keep it at 15 kilometers. Just keep in mind, the wider and the higher the distance that you have your view size, your view distance, the more of a performance hit you're going to take in the game. So I always leave it right at, for my game, in my machine, I always leave it at 15 kilometers. That's fine. I've not seen a problem with that. Respawn ship countdown or cooldown, I always leave that disabled, but you can enable that and set a respawn time limit, as to how much time there has to be, you have to wait before respawning each time. Enabling sun rotation, I leave that on by default. That is a default setting for the game, and you kind of really want that for realism. You don't need to have sun rotation on, depending on the scenario you're trying to play in the game. Max objects. Now, the max objects is the maximum number of small objects floating in space, i.e., ore, ingots, components. Values higher than 64 can dramatically impact your performance as well. So I just leave that where it is at 32. We're not going to have ore floating through space anyway. So I'm not too worried about it. So we'll just leave that alone. Animal NPC limits. We're going to leave that alone too. We're not going to use the animals that Space Engineers puts in the game, like the cyber hounds and the spiders. Those are just foolish and ridiculous, in my view, and they're really annoying. I am actually glad that by default, Keen has those disabled. So, take it as you will there. Block limits, I have that. I don't have that enabled. You can enable it. It will be enabled by default. So if you're kind of like a new player or something like, or you're not sure if your system can handle unlimited number of maximum blocks, then please, by all means, keep that enabled. I know my performance for my computer and whatnot, and I know what it can handle, so that's why I leave that unlimited. And because I leave this the block limits unchecked and disabled, that's going to mean the max ship size, max blocks per player, and total PCU. Those are all disabled by default as well. All right, max backup saves. You get 5 backup saves in the game. Now, here's a tip. The max backup saves, it gives you 5. That's just basically telling you, that's just basically telling you how many autosaves it will store in the autosave directory. It's meant to do that to help conserve space on your computer. But you can mess around with that and increase the number. Alright, so now we get to a little bit more of the fun settings. Auto healing, I leave that on. A lot of people turn that off, but I leave it on. I don't know why. I mean, I don't really see a purpose for it, but some people leave it on, some people leave it off. I just leave it on by default. I don't really care. By default now, the respawn ships will not delete on save or on exiting the game. But you can check that to have that happen if you so wish. Just keep in mind, if you do that, you don't have a medical bay or a survival kit on your base, you're basically going to end up starting over. I enable the spectator camera view. It's pretty much what it says. It's a spectator view. Let's see. Enable copy pasta. Yes, you can do that, but only in creative mode. So we're not going to need to worry about that here. Reset ownership. Yes, you can. I think that's cheating, so I'm not going to leave that enabled. Permanent death. That's what it sounds like. I leave that disabled because, to be honest, we're in an open sandbox game. It's kind of stupid to have it. see. Show player names, of course. That does what it says it's going to do. Shows the player name of each player. Thruster damage. Yeah, I'll leave that on just for the fun of it. Weapons enabled. Yes, I'll leave that on, but you don't have to play with weapons if you do not want. Cargo ships. So what that does, having that enabled, just it'll randomly spawn cargo ships that are basically flying through the world from time to time. Those are sometimes fun to go after. Destructible blocks. It's basically what it means. Blocks can be destroyed in the game. In-game scripts. I always leave that enabled if I'm using mods or scripts in the game, because you never know. You have to have it enabled in order to use scripts in the game. So I always make sure I enable it. Even if I'm not going to use the script, I do it that way, so that way later on I don't have to worry about whether I forgot. So enable tool shake. It basically means the drills and grinders are going to shake as they are doing their job in the game. You don't have to have that enabled if you don't want to. I'll leave that to you. I leave it enabled. I don't really see a difference either way. Enable spacesuit respawn. It's basically what it means. You can respawn in your spacesuit in space with basically nothing on you. Adaptive simulation quality. It basically just enables quality, reduction of deformation and explosions. And having that enabled, it can help with performance in the game, so I always leave it enabled. Random encounters, basically, you're going to see a random respawn abandoned ship and stations throughout the world. Those will be fun. Those are always fun to go and look at. Enable third-person view. Well, that's basically what it means. Get to look at things in third person. Enable voxel hand. That just means that while you're in creative mode, you can actually... actually, you might be able to do it in survival mode, too. You can edit the voxels with using voxel hand. That's basically what that means. Enable air tightness. That's basically what it sounds like. It can make you have to make sure, like when you're in space or on Mars or on one of the moons or whatever, that doesn't have an atmosphere, you have to make sure that your station is airtight. Enable oxygen. Well, that's obvious. With this enabled, you can process oxygen. And you're going to need oxygen for your spacesuit anyway, and cockpits. Let's see. Enable convert the station. What that means is I could take a ship, I could build a spaceship, and I can convert it to a station, and it would stay stationary. Meaning it wouldn't move. So I leave that enabled. I don't often do that, but I do leave it enabled. Unsupported stations. I leave this disabled. I don't really see a value in it. And basically what it means is you'd no longer be able to turn dynamic if you disconnect from a station. So I don't really know that... I don't really know that that's a feature that you need in the game. Respond with tools basically is what it says it is. It means you'll have your tools. I always leave that enabled. Enable drones is what it is. Drones will come into the world from time to time. I have spiders disabled, as I told you before. Enables subgrid damage, which means you can damage subgrids. I leave that disabled because really, if you're going to damage a grid, you're going to do some damage. Doesn't matter if it's a subgrid or not. So I think that's just a little stupid. Unknown signals I leave enabled. That can give you resources here and there, like components, such as steel plate and whatnot. So I leave that enabled because it can be helpful. There are a couple of unknown signals that you will see me go in to admin tools probably and disable just because they really annoy me. And I'd rather have fun with you guys and not be annoyed in the game, in the videos. So that will be the only time you'll ever see me go into the admin tools. It's just to depower. There's two that I depower for the unknown signals, and that's just so that they don't annoy me and I don't run chasing them around. Enable progression. That is what it means. It means we'll have to learn the blueprints for different things, and we do that by building the required blueprints before we can unlock other blueprints. Super gridding, I always leave that disabled. There are some people that actually like trying that, but super gridding can cause you to take a performance hit on your computer, so I always leave that disabled. Enable bounty contracts. Yeah, I leave that enabled. That's kind of fun to try. We might try them if we run into them. Actually, I will enable that. Enable aim assist for controllers. I think that's a good idea. Just assists with the aim for things like your weapon systems. Weather system, I leave that enabled. That's like your storms, like dust storms, thunderstorms, rain, snow, fog. So we'll leave that enabled. Enable the economy, obviously. You'll be able to trade with various factions and whatnot. Enable auto respawn. If you die in the game, you'll automatically respawn at your survival kit or med bay. That's why you don't want to delete that's why you want to be careful with deleting your respawn pods if you don't have a medical room or medical bay built on your base. Enable respawn ships. This just means you can respawn in a ship. Enable friendly rocket damage. I leave that disabled. You know, it does happen, but I do leave it disabled. Remote block removal. It just means that you can remove blocks remotely to help free up CPU usage. The Cyberhounds, aka Enable Wolves, I already said I'm going to leave that disabled because they're stupid and they're annoying. Voxel destruction, I leave enabled. It is what it is. It means you can destroy voxels. The jetpack is enabled for space only for me, but it is enabled in the game so I can use it only in space. And I think I went over the rest of these. So those are the settings in advanced, and then of course there's mods that, as you know, are enabled as well. So that is the rules and the setup for the game. These videos for this series will come out each week. One video a week for this series will come out, with the exception of this week. We'll have the episode 1 coming out with this video, but that will do it for this video. I hope you enjoy the series. Please be sure to leave your feedback, how I can improve the series, in the comments. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the like button and enable notifications so that you can keep up with new videos as they become available for this series and for other series that for other games that I am working on as well. I have been away for a little bit. I've been sick and dealing with work, so I have not been recording as much as I'd like to, but I am back, and I will be doing a lot of recording and a lot of live streaming in the near future. So we're going to have fun with this, and do not be surprised if I give my critique of different things that I see in the games. As a software developer, I tend to see things differently, and so I may venture out of character a little bit in each video and point out something that I think could be better, or I think could be done differently, or even if it's something I think is done perfectly well, I will point it out, and that's just the software developer nature in me. But other than that, I hope you all have a good time. Enjoy the series. I look forward to bringing the series to you, and I look forward to seeing you again on the New Galaxy Gamers channel. With that, happy gaming.